Fast forward, any come out with Chinese or how AG politics avenue. Podcast structure trending because making headlines. Jamre na EDB Exum Ewaha, need me on Braxim say, and ED Kanya. Unia, especially with you subscribe to the channel. Hit notification bell, share now for front so answer into me. And need me on Braxim, a ya not will leave comments under the comment section for Eddie Amami. Now, Mr. say, young Queen Sim. Ye Queen Sim, Nana Ya Dantua, and I may know say. A year 2020-2024 election violence a course so old do what in an autumn now what she say and say Hong Kong say investigations a course now Ayawaso West Wago Basa you a course so our Dampare time na enya asem to the sense impo invisible forces ye shewomu national security atare Emma Omu ekoye basa yo ewo ho tutu ema sam dot krampon wogya sotro ewo ho a ebe TV so ema obi ehu de ekọ nipa wo ball no ni nyina camera e capture nipa no enso His Excellency Nana Addo Akuffo tama na te kan se akonya so oye se obeye nhwe ankosi aga na na se ye nhwemu a ade nti na ye se yi Ayawaso West Wagon film because near course or hold crampon na eye edutwem a enya asem koto akra na mesre se ka kumo ye gine kwakuo nim maama na transe a obonchiro ye mo nwa nsem nim ne hwe ne ye ko ne de ba EG politics
on the progress of investigations, but really military and police officers have been killing people, brutalizing people, but we don't seem to hear of what happens to them after the information even comes out. So the question I'm asking you is what we're seeing now, the reason you're blaming the previous government, is it not an indication of a system that has emboldened wrongdoing and people who do wrong?
At every particular time, the system is the one that will embolden, but also there are people who are recalcitrant. But also when it comes to the military especially, they have their own courts within that barracks. Do you get me? They have their own court, they have their own way. So even when they punish the people, sometimes it doesn't come out. But we have to find out that these people who have been killing, are they real military people? Or they are just some vigilantes that are an appendage or an arm of parties? This one has been established.
Military and police uniforms.
Yes, the military and police uniforms. Are they just maybe a wing or some vigilante group or some group that is not really police and military? Because at the end of the day, when these people are killed, as you said, you cannot even identify a certain military person who did it. We see during elections, we see the military, we see the police. But if we are putting so much on military and police, 2024 is an example where the military was not involved. People were not allowed to even take guns to polling stations. So who killed whom? Is it only the military and the police? Maybe we should dig deeper to see who killed whom.
The Interior Minister said the investigations are ongoing, so perhaps we'll get an update.
Yes, because for me, my point of this explanation is 2024. Who killed whom? 6 people died. But you see, sometimes if we are talking about the New Patriotic Party, people say that, oh, Nana, you are being too political. 8 years you could not find this. 8 years, bitches. You had all the it didn't even ever occur.
The NPP says that at least in the by-election of January 2019, which was our Ayawaso walk-on, something that has really dominated our conversations, they at least asked Emil Short to investigate.
Look at so when Emil Short investigated, what happened? Listen to these people. So because Emil Short investigated, what happened to the outcome of the investigation? Are they listening to themselves? That you investigated, and the people who were indicted, you promoted them.
So the Interior Minister has asked for, let me ask you this, then I'll come back to you, ma'am. The Interior Minister has asked for the full implementation of that report that Emil Short came out with. But let me remind us really of some of the things that the report said. Of course, one of the main things that Emil Short said in that report was a review and restructure of national security, because it felt that in the Ayawaso West Wogon, around the Baulishi area, there didn't seem to have been clear direction in terms of the command structures. And so they want a review of that. Also talked about, so that was like reporting lines and even responsibilities. Also, the SWAT teams at the national security should be disbanded. As for rigorous training for the general SWAT team, of course, what you just talked about, Colonel Michael Opoku, asking him to be punished, and also then Minister of State at the National Security, Brian Echampon, who is currently a flag bearer aspirant for the opposition MPP, and of course the compensation of families of those victims as well. So these are some of the details that the Interior Minister would want fully implemented.
The Interior Minister should not implement anything here. This thing that has been recommended is for MPPs, not for NDC. Today, our government has a good national security system headed by a professional. This does not apply to us. It's not applied to our government. The only thing that he should implement is the compensation. But
there's also the review of the structure. There's always a need to improve the security.
I am telling you that today, this one was at that time, that the structure wasn't good. Today, we have a national security coordinator, national security system that is good. You can't say that everything is, but it is good. So we don't need this. Honorable Muntaka should not worry himself. What is he going to implement here? These recommendations is not for NDC.
There was also an indictment of NDC officials in the Ayawaso West Wogon. And that was when Emil Short and his team said that Ofosu Ampofo, for instance, his press conference might have contributed to the escalation of the violence there, as well as even Sam George, what he said earlier.
It is gone. Sam George was slapped. Was he not? Who said what? So at this time, this one is gone. This thing I don't mention. The only good thing in this recommendation is the compensation. And that has to be done. The rest is not for us, it's for MPP. They did not implement it.
By the time, people were asking for Ofosu Ampofo to be called and investigated as well regarding why he did that press conference.
So he shouldn't do press conference.
Sam George
did he pull a gun? Political.
But you heard what he said. He claimed that there was violence in the place, which was per the report. So let me read a bit of what the report said.
This is what I said.
So let me just read it to you. It said, in the morning I'm just reading to you what Emil Short said in the introduction of that report. He said, in the morning of Monday, 31st January 2019, barely a few hours after voting had commenced in the Ayawaso West Wogon by-election, following the death of the Honorable Member of Parliament, Emmanuel Tremantin Ejakon, the national chairman of the opposition, he was then the chairman of the opposition National Democratic Congress, Mr. Samuel Ofosu Ampofo, addressed a press conference where he alleged that the NDC parliamentary candidate and 6 party agents and accredited observers had been shot at by invisible forces who have been given national security uniforms. If you go to the end of that statement, Emil Short said in that report that what he said might have instigated these allegations, which caused widespread national alarm and outrage, led the president, so he just talked about Akuffo, but claiming in that introduction that it instigated that.
One, the key word here is alleged. And as a chairman of a political party, if you're on the ground, nothing bars you from doing press conference. And you also get information from the ground. Your information from the ground, from the grassroots, from the people. I've been a general secretary before. I know. Auntie has been a chairman before. Your people will bring you info. Do you get me? So this one, you see, how can Emil Short write a report without bringing in NDC? The MPP will not be happy. So you should find some low-hanging fruit and bring it. How can you tell me that a national chairman of a party cannot do press conference when there is an election? He can do press conference. And he only speaks, Honorable Ofosu Ampofo spoke based on the intelligence he got from the ground.
So what you're saying is that that information was needless.
That would not ignite violence. You think violence is easy? Who was indicted in the report? Did they indict any MPP person that they shot? Was NDC
Brandon
person?
Champon was indicted.
Yes,
Colonel Mike Lukoku was indicted, and a few other individuals.
And who are they? Did they indict any NDC person? They said national security. At that time, who was in charge of national security? Was it the NDC? NDC was in opposition. Who was in charge of national security? It was the MPP. So clearly, you don't think Emil Short will not write a report without bringing NDC. He would think it's a biased report. So that is the only low-hanging fruit that he can bring. What you are saying that they are gagged, as a chairman of the party, he was gagged. He can't do press conference. And there's the word alleged. He was very careful. He wasn't categorical. He said alleged.
Now, I want to come to you, Hajia, because as part of the recommendations or the findings of this report by Emil Short, he also said that there seemed to have been a lack of intelligence gathering or inadequate intelligence gathering, and also there was no proper sharing of information, which led to what happened in Ayawaso, West Wuogon. The reason he recommended the training of these officials who are sent there, etc. What do you make of that? And indeed, the fact that the Interior Minister is now asking for the full implementation of this. That means there has to be some level of training. Nana doesn't necessarily agree.
No, I don't think this one doesn't apply. It's gone. It's only compensation part.
What do you think about that?
Nanaya will not agree because he's being political based. But when issues like this comes, then we have to put NDC, MPP aside and face issues as Ghanaians. What really happens at these police stations and agents, between agents and polling stations, is all about the winner takes it all. It's all about NDC, MPP. And the issue that we have as Ghanaians really is when there is a scene, who goes for evidence? Who goes to do the real research? Who goes into doing the real findings? So I think that they are right. There should be proper research findings, proper investigation into these matters. Who did the shootings? Just like Nanaya said, there should be somebody to be accountable for the shots. Everything has to be really structured. If there's going to be a reshuffle or whatever in the system, it has to be done. And Ghanaians want accountability. We are all looking forward to seeing that the perpetrators are really brought to book. It's not just every day coming to talk about it and we sit down. The endings are not being said. 2024 is just passed by, but the findings, the evidences, everything has been wiped off. If they are being given bail and they are out there, who knows who is going to even brainwash them or try to clear off all the evidence?
I don't think it's necessary. The evidence is necessarily wiped off, because we heard the Interior Minister say that the investigations are ongoing and already people are facing the law.
Yes. So since people are facing the law, then that is in the right course. But then what I'm really saying is that if all these things are done in the right way, Ghanaians will not have any issues when it comes to elections. We'll all be safe when the next election is coming up.
Let me get your thoughts as well, Ahmad Mayana, on especially the Ayawaso West Wuogon, the details in that report and the fact that the Interior Minister is finding it necessary for the current government to implement what Emil Short brought out.
I think that there's a need for us to look into it. If there's any form of restructuring to be done, let us do it. I'm also of the view that, you see, we sometimes we just sit and all that we talk about is politics and being political about issues. When it came to elections and whatnot, look, see how fast we've come out with some form of a report. But when it comes to ordinary Ghanaians, we seem not to bother at all. I think that as a people, the lack of the methods, maybe, of gathering intelligence is something that we have to look at. If intelligence gathering is not giving the priority, right, then it means that every time there'll be something wrong. Because you cannot go into a community and start beating everyone. If you had intelligence, if you knew what you were looking for, You would go in there and just look at that position, not go beating everybody. I am getting so distraught with the fact that when it comes to political issues, you know, we are quick to find solutions. But when it comes to issues concerning ordinary people, ordinary Ghanaians, then we drag our feet. You understand? I don't think that we should allow for people who are supposed to be protecting us, that is the police and the military, to be the ones that we will come here and sit and talk about their attitudes. Are you getting me? So I think that going forward, the two institutions, that's the military and the police, or in fact, all the security agencies, they need to be able to reorientate the minds of the people that they are taking into the system, to know that holding a gun doesn't give you the right to shoot at people. People are not animals. You understand? And we are not at war. When you go to those places, you're supposed to go and keep peace. But you're not supposed to go there with the mindset that because
if they misbehave, we'll deal with them.
We'll deal with them. If they be, and you are also out there saying, I'll deal with you because I am in uniform. It's a uniform that makes them different. It's a uniform that people respect in this country. And that is why when we see them, we move, we behave.
But that should also really give us an understanding of which kind of persons they send to these areas.
Exactly.
Because Nanaya referred to a video that I remember I saw as well during the election where the soldier was obviously instigated at all levels and he didn't touch the person.
That's it.
So if you know that you're going to an election area where there are high tensions, you should know
the kinds of people, yes, to send to those people. But that is not what happens. It looks like the kinds of people we are having now in some of these institutions are people that their minds have not been orientated to the jobs that they've been given. You understand? You know very well that you're going here to make sure, look, your presence alone, you see, your presence alone even puts fear in people. So why do you go after they are running away, you follow them into their rooms and you beat them? I'm still talking about the way they behave towards all civilians, not elections.
There's a point Nanaya also made earlier about the fact that the military has its own structures and so soldiers could be punished, but we don't get to hear. People are still aggrieved that we seem to be shielding them, perhaps because they don't hear that those officers involved were punished. Do you think perhaps it's time to review this as well?
Yes,
so people are confident and, as it were, satisfied that at least when they complained about officers, they were eventually punished?
Yes, I think that it should be reviewed. I think that we should begin to, you know, things have changed. We shouldn't make the security agencies look like demigods, where you cannot talk about them, you cannot do anything because of the fear of repercussions. It should be open. If people have been accused of something and they have been punished, let the rest of us know that these people have been punished. I was reading somewhere in the social media that the guy who went to the pharmacy and beat up those people has been sacked from the military. You understand? It's in social media. I don't know how far it is true. But if it is true, these are the things that we are supposed to know. Then we know that you are out there looking after our backs. But if you go and do a court martial or whatever it is, and you discipline the person and you don't tell us, you get me? Then we feel that no, nothing happened. And that's where the agitations come in. And also it emboldens the people inside there to continue to do the things that they do. So I think that going forward, everything must be transparent for us to know. And also they must relax the system so that we can talk about them when they go wrong. That's the whole thing. We shouldn't be afraid to talk about a military man or a soldier or an immigration officer or anybody who has done something wrong. But they intimidate us with their uniform. And that is not right in a democracy. It shouldn't be.
How do we deal? Because I realize that you're talking a lot more also about ordinary civilians, not necessarily related to elections issues. How do we deal with incidents or cases where we've had a whole, almost like a battalion, go to a community to beat people just because a phone was stolen or a soldier was brutalized or maltreated? How do we deal with that moving forward? Because these are not election related as well.
Exactly. But then there are Ghanaians. But because we are a political sort of, we put ourselves in a political mindset, everything that has to do with politics takes center page. And the rest of the civilian population, that is the rest of us, you know, the public, whom I represent, we are not thought of. I am saying, going forward, such things, those that are being taken into the military, let us look into their minds, whether it's the psychologists or whatnot, because you can't afford to have sadists, people who just go wanting to inflict pain on others for no reason but for the fact that I have the power to do so.
I will come back to you for your final word. I'm coming to you, Nanaya. There's a message directly sent to you from Mansa Musa.
Mansa Musa.
Who says, Beatrice, tell Nanaya, and he wants me to read to you, tell Nanaya Jantwa she is wrong. Emil Short investigated an incident and submitted his report only to be shelved by the previous government. Why should Nanaya speak to suggest that the report is useless? Tell her she is wrong. I didn't expect her to speak like that. Is this the type of advice she's offering at the presidency?
Mansa Musa, if you are listening to me, there's something called context. Within the context of when this happened, 2019, this report was very relevant because the thing had happened, and this is what was found out. Today, are you telling me that COP Abdul Razak, as he is the coordinator of national security, has to be restructured? Has anybody said so? I am talking about context. The context in which this investigations was done. It wasn't implemented.
So what you're claiming is that the wrong people were in the wrong place,
yes,
and now you're claiming that the systems have been
So are you telling me today, is there any report which says that the national security being headed by COP Abdul Razak has a problem? I just want to find out. Mansa Musa, tell me. There's something called context, and when you go beyond that context, sometimes it becomes, opaque. It becomes archaic. It doesn't work anymore.
There's a message coming from Audu Adams Mooney. It says, good morning, Beatrice, please. What happened to the soldier who shot and killed Kaka in broad daylight at Tejura in the Shanti region? Can anybody tell me they can't identify the officer responsible?
Because the bullet.
The national security today is now a reviewed institution. There's also Stephen Penn, who is saying, good morning, Beatrice. The truth is that most of the election violence was state-sponsored, and the government had no moral to investigate and punish their own. However, the day of accountability has dawned, and the culprit will have to dance to the tunes, and the victims will get justice finally. Ghana is working again. That's from Stephen Penwa in the Upper East region, and he says, my regards to Nanaya. Tell her I am not happy she came to work for her program and did not ask of me. Okay, so Stephen, Mansa Musa is typing in. I guess he has a response for you, but in like 30 seconds, if I could get your final word.
I just wanted to say something.
That would be your final word on this one?
Yes, on this one. I'm saying that Auntie should know that, Auntie Odelin should know that the people who were killed were not politicians. They were ordinary Ghanaians.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying
to say. That's
the
point she's made.
No, I'm saying that they are also ordinary Ghanaians. So if even it's being investigated, that is why it is even painful that these people who were killed were innocent people going about their business. I hear there was.
It way and some ahodo a team course or channel. I'm not so Jim or the Senate so body and Edia Onia, the business shame na Yasuma. AG politics avenue.